The morning sun streamed through the glass walls of Pearson International Airport, glinting off shiny floors and reflecting the hurried faces of travelers rushing to catch their flights. Announcements echoed across terminals, the wheels of suitcases hummed in rhythm, and security lines moved with mechanical precision. But amid all this ordinary bustle, a single bark shattered the calm, sharp, loud, and desperate. Officer Laura Benton, who had been walking her K9 partner, Rex, froze instantly. The German Shepherd wasn't just barking, he was growling, his fur bristling as he lunged toward a medium-sized blue suitcase left near the corner of the waiting lounge. Rex's behavior was unlike anything Laura had seen in her 5 years of working with him. He was trained to detect explosives and drugs, but this was something else. His barks weren't just alerting, they were frantic, almost pleading. Passengers began to turn their heads. Some gasped. A few moved backward nervously as the tension thickened. Laura's heart pounded as she called for backup, her voice steady but her hands trembling slightly. Within moments, the area was sealed off, and officers surrounded the suitcase, every eye fixed on the blue bag that now seemed to hold the weight of 1,000 secrets. Backhand index pointing right. If you believe in kindness, compassion, and second chances, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to our W Insights. It helps us continue bringing real, heart-touching stories that move souls like yours. The bomb squad arrived swiftly, their black gear glinting under the airport lights. Rex stood a few feet away, growling softly, refusing to sit or move despite Laura's repeated commands. It was as if he was guarding something or someone. The suitcase looked ordinary, unmarked, except for a small sticker of a smiling sun at one corner. The squad carefully moved in, scanning for wires, checking for triggers. Then came the moment everyone held their breath for. The lead officer slowly unzipped the bag. But what they found inside left the entire team speechless. There were no explosives. No illegal substances. Instead, nestled inside a soft blanket was a baby no more than a few months old, pale, crying softly, and trembling from the cold. A note was pinned to the blanket. Laura's knees almost gave way as she picked it up, her eyes racing across the shaky handwriting. Please take care of my baby. I can't. I'm sorry. The crowd that had gathered behind the security tape fell silent. Some people covered their mouths in shock, others wept quietly. Rex whimpered and gently nudged forward, sniffing the child, his once aggressive stance now replaced with an almost fatherly concern. The baby's tiny fingers reached out weakly and brushed Rex's nose. In that moment, the fierce police dog let out a soft whine and lay down beside the suitcase, refusing to move, as though he was guarding the little one with his life. Laura swallowed hard, her eyes stinging. She wrapped the infant in her jacket and hurriedly called for paramedics. Within minutes, the baby was on a stretcher, being rushed to the airport medical unit. But even as they left, Rex refused to let go of his gaze. He barked and tried to follow until Laura gently held his collar. "It's okay, boy," she whispered, her voice cracking. "You saved a life today." The news spread like wildfire. Police dog saves abandoned infant at airport blazed across headlines within hours. Social media flooded with videos taken by bystanders, Rex barking at the suitcase, the moment the baby was discovered, Laura holding the crying infant. People were calling him a hero, a guardian angel in fur. But behind the applause and media frenzy, Laura couldn't stop thinking about the note. About the mother who left her baby behind. About what pain must have driven her to such a decision. Days turned into weeks, and Rex became a sensation. He received awards, commendations, and thousands of letters from people around the world. Yet, he seemed restless. He often sat by the airport lounge where they'd found the baby, whining softly as though waiting for something or someone. Laura noticed the change. Rex had always been loyal and alert, but now there was a haunting sadness in his eyes. One rainy afternoon, Laura decided to visit the hospital where the baby, now named Eli, was recovering. The doctors had said he was healthy and gaining strength, though they were still trying to trace his biological mother. When Laura and Rex entered the pediatric ward, Eli's face lit up. The baby cooed, waving his tiny hands as if he recognized them. Rex's tail wagged furiously for the first time in weeks. He nuzzled close, and Eli laughed, a pure, innocent sound that brought tears to everyone in the room. Laura began visiting often, sometimes after her shift, sometimes on weekends. She'd sit by Eli's crib, watching Rex lying protectively beside him. Slowly, she began to feel something she hadn't expected, a deep, aching connection to this child. She had lost her husband 2 years ago in a car accident, and ever since, her home had felt cold and quiet. Now, when she looked at Eli's tiny hands gripping her finger, she felt warmth she hadn't felt in years. But one morning, just as Laura began to hope for a new start, a new twist appeared. A young woman showed up at the hospital reception, drenched from the rain, clutching a small torn photo, the same sun sticker from the suitcase stuck to its corner. Her name was Maya. She looked no older than 22, her eyes hollow with guilt and exhaustion. Through trembling lips, she confessed she was Eli's mother. Her story broke everyone's heart. She had fled an abusive relationship, living in shelters and on the streets. When she realized she was pregnant, she tried to rebuild her life but found no support, no family willing to help. The night she left Eli at the airport, she had intended to take her own life. But when she heard the news of Rex saving the baby, she realized it was a sign, a miracle that told her maybe, just maybe, her son still had a chance at life. Laura stood frozen as Maya cried uncontrollably, begging for forgiveness. There were procedures, of course, investigations, counseling sessions, and child welfare decisions. But Laura couldn't see Maya as a criminal. She saw a broken soul, desperate and lost. During one of their meetings, Maya whispered, "That dog, he saved both of us. My son's life and my will to live." Weeks passed as social services evaluated Maya's case. During that time, Laura and Rex visited often, sometimes bringing little toys for Eli. Maya began to rebuild her confidence, attending therapy and looking for stable work. Slowly, Laura found herself mentoring her, guiding her as if she were a younger sister. Rex became their bridge, the silent guardian who had brought 3 lives together in ways no one could have imagined. One crisp morning, Maya was deemed fit to regain custody, but she hesitated. She approached Laura, her eyes filled with gratitude and tears. "You were there when I wasn't," she said softly. "You gave my son love when I couldn't. If you want, if you're willing, I'd like you and Rex to be part of his life." Laura was speechless. She knelt beside Maya and hugged her tightly, while Rex wagged his tail and barked as though celebrating their new bond. From that day on, Laura became Eli's godmother, and Rex his official guardian in every sense. Months later, a ceremony was held at the airport to honor Rex once again. The same lounge where the story began was now filled with applause, balloons, and smiling faces. Laura stood proudly beside Rex as little Eli, now healthy and giggling, reached out from Maya's arms to pet the dog that had saved his life. Cameras flashed, capturing the moment, a police officer, a mother, a child, and a heroic dog all connected by fate and compassion. As the crowd cheered, Laura whispered to Rex, "You didn't just find a baby, boy. You found a family." The German shepherd looked up at her, his brown eyes shimmering under the daylight, and gently wagged his tail as if he understood every word. From that day forward, their story became a symbol of second chances, proof that even in the darkest corners of life, love can find its way through unexpected heroes. The airport, once just a place of departures and arrivals, now carried a silent memory of a bark that changed 3 lives forever. Red Heart, if this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe to our W Insights. Your support helps us bring more true and inspiring stories that remind the world how powerful love, courage, and kindness can be. Dove special request, comment below. Heroes come in all forms. If you believe every act of compassion, no matter how small, can change a life.